The Crusader Conversation, informative, local, and student-focused. The show bringing newsmakers of Valparaiso University to share their story. This is the Crusader Conversation. Hello and welcome to the Crusader Conversation here on VU TV. I'm your host, Brendan Kinney. Today we are pleased to welcome Larry Mosher. He's the director of the Hara Union. Larry?
Nice to see you, as always.
And you may recognize Larry from walking around the Hara Union, but I guess your days are numbered, and this is a good thing for you. Larry is he's retiring from Valparaiso University, and so Larry, we want to have you on the show today just to learn about your career, and to really honor you, is because you're definitely an integral part of campus.
Thank
so
you. I appreciate that.
Let's go back to when your career began, Larry.
Not to this little baby stuff. We'll jump all that early.
Sure, yeah, let's go all the way back.
Jump all that now.
So where'd you start, Larry?
Where'd I start? Actually, I was born and brought up in Niagara Falls, New York. Went to school in New York. Went to school to be a school teacher, and did that for about 3.5 years. And then I decided that's not really what I wanted to do, and so I moved over to just dealing with bigger kids. So I moved up into higher ed and started out as a graduate assistant in residence life. Did that for 3 years, then moved into student activities, and then from there I moved on to mostly either a director of student activities and a union. So since 1977, I've been the director of a union in student activities in the field of higher education, and it's been a very rewarding 40-some years that I've been doing this. And everybody asked me what you'll miss the most, and I said, I'll miss the students the most. They're what I get the most out of and what motivates me and brings me here every day and keeps me in it. So when my days are over, that's when I'm going to miss the most. I just think the students are great. I couldn't have asked for better students here, and the 4 schools total that I've worked at, I've always had great students to work with, highly motivated students.
So when people are probably going to be watching this episode, you'll be moving on. You'll be moving into retirement. What are your plans for retirement? Staying here in Valpo?
Yeah, for right now, my wife's going to work for a couple more years, so she'll leave me home alone. I don't think I could stay home, every day and not do anything. So I'm kind of saying I'm retiring from what I do right now.
Right.
So I might do something else right now. I don't know what that is, but I'll probably find some kind of work that whether it's in higher education or in some other area that I would enjoy and wouldn't want to think that it's tough getting up every morning and going to work. I found, and I listen to people that say when the day comes that you can't get up and you don't want to go to work, that's when you quit. So when that day comes, that's when I'll finally stop working altogether and try to find other things.
Not calling it quits yet?
No, I'm not calling it quits yet, just from what I do.
Sure, sure. So tell me what are your duties with the director of the Hara Union now? I see you at all times of the day with events, whether they be in the morning or late at night. For those that aren't aware of what you do, what you've been doing for all these years, can you enlighten us?
Yeah, my job responsibility is to basically run the union from a maintenance, physical perspective of making sure that it stays clean and that it works and everybody has the services they need, and along those lines, and with the help of the staff, to supervise all our student employees. Since we've moved in the building going on 5 years now, we've gone from about 30 to 60 student employees. So it's doubled in staff because our business has quadrupled probably since the numbers. I remember when we were in the old building, we were probably doing about 700,000 people a year. I would dare to say now that we're well over 1.5 million to maybe 2 million people a year that come through the doors on a daily. Now, most of that's repeat business because students come in, they come back, with dining and everything else. So the building is one part. The other part is making sure that the student activities program runs, and with the help of our assistant director for student activities, she runs it on a day-to-day basis, just as our assistant director for the union for operations runs the union on a day-to-day basis. But we all work together to design and have goals and objectives on a yearly basis, and strategically plan where we want to be as we move down. And actually next week we'll have a staff half-day retreat where we'll go over everything that happened this year and try to put together some things for the future, even though I won't be here, at least the new person will have something to go by, and then the staff can help that person to get into the new year and to move us forward. And then there's other things like we're also responsible for all the camps and conferences that come through in the summer, all the reservations for all the non-academic reservations for the campus. That's year-round is our responsibility. And then whatever else they can think of that they want us to do in the building. I also work and collaborate with foreign languages and literatures and run a 6-part World Cinema Series every year. And then in conjunction with Jeff Brown from the jazz program, we run the week-long jazz festival, which has been in existence for 28 years, and it's been very, very successful. And I think this year's it's probably been one of the best we've had. Everybody so far, I've just started getting the evaluations back, and people are very positive about what happened. So that's kind of in a nutshell, what I do. Every day's different. I can't say that I go to work in the morning and know what I'm going to do every day. I have ideas in my mind, but anything could happen. It pops up, from emergencies in the building to a refrigerator that's not cleaned and not working, or light bulbs get burned out, so we have to do work requests and all that. So it's nice. I like the idea that it's different every day, and every week is different. So,
and so now this is we're filming this middle of May. At this point, has your replacement been hired for now? Okay.
As of now, I have not heard that that's the case. I know the interview process is over, so they're at the next step of that, whether that's checking resumes or waiting for somebody to get back to them. I was minimally involved in the process. I took each of the candidates on tour of the building and explained what it was. Ironically, I knew 3 of the 4 candidates, and they had been in the building in the past, so it was easy to take them on a tour.
Sure. The reason I ask, what advice would you give your replacement on running the Har Union?
Flexibility.
Sure.
You got to be flexible. Budgets are always an issue for everybody. Evan probably is for you with VUTV. It is with the union. So being able to run the building on a day-to-day basis, being able to make the repairs that are necessary, the new furniture that has to be purchased, or refurbishing furniture, or remodeling an area, expanding. I think the person has to be able to think definitely down the road. You can't just think in the moment. You've got to be thinking at a time. If we grow, the university's supposed to grow by 3,000. Well, what impact does that have on us? And one of the biggest ones is, since we have central dining, and the only place you can eat is the union, then we're going to have to think about, are they going to expand out somewhere else, or do we have to expand internally? So I think that's important, that that person can think about that in long range terms and not just short range. I think you got to learn how to proact to things and not react to many things. I think that's important in the business, like being a union director, student activities director. It's important that you're always thinking ahead and not trying to react to what happens, but to proact to that.
So look, you've been here since 1999, correct?
1999, yes.
Valparaiso University. And that was when we had the university union, is what I believe it's called.
Right.
Tell us about that union and the transferring into the current Har Union. Well, I know there's quite a few differences, but tell us a little bit about
Well, first of all, I try to forget
that.
about the old one.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, I've kind of forgotten that I was ever there. But the old one, 52,000 square feet versus this new union is 202,000 square feet. So it's grown almost 4 times. We just didn't have the services. It was a building that was built in like around 1955. So by the time we were done, it was over, it was 50 some years old. By the time we opened, I think it was about 54 to 55 years old. We moved in the new building in 09. It didn't have any well, I shouldn't say any student space. It had minimal student office space. I think we had, which is UPC now, which in their former, what they were called before that, was in there. Student Senate was in there. I think there might have been one other student organization office. So we really didn't have a lot of space. We didn't have we didn't have enough meeting space. Our ballroom, we have a ballroom now, back then it was the Great Hall. I think the best we could do was maybe 350 auditorium, maybe 250 for a meal. Plus it had pillars in it. So you had to kind of find a way to get your seating around the pillars so people didn't have to try to they would peek around the pillars when they were watching somebody on stage. So, in meeting room wise, I think we had 3 meeting rooms. So when we started out to design the new building, which was it was an 8-year project from beginning to end. Wow. We stopped twice for funding reasons, but we continually moved along in the design. The initial plan was, and none of you in this room know this, but where we sit on the west side used to be Mollering Library, which was the old library before they opened the Christopher Center. The initial plan was to refurbish and remodel that building and then build onto it. One of the first things our architects told us after we signed the contract with them is, you don't want to do that. And it made sense. The building was totally full of asbestos, and it just was old. There wasn't a mechanical system left. So we tore it down. So what we've done is we built brand new, scratch, 202,000 square feet of building. No basement in the old building. We have a 62,000 square foot basement in the new building. The construction company said to me that it's the biggest building they ever had to make. Wow. When they were construction. 6,100 truckloads of dirt they took out of there so that they could dig it. And sustainability-wise, we kept that dirt and then recycled it and used it throughout the project. Plus, we expanded the intramural and recreation fields over across the way on Eastgate. So that was used. So we didn't have to buy it to bring it back.
Sure.
Our big goal throughout the process and for the new building was to build something that was very warm, very welcoming, very receptive, that would bring people in, bring them back, and then make them stay. So we had to think about what were the things that we needed in order to do that. Well, one was dining. So instead of having auxiliary dining spots around campus, we brought everything to the Union. So we built Founders, which is more of what we call our formal dining room, which seats about 650 people. And then we built the cafe, which seats about 125 people. Plus, we knew, because of the flexibility of the meal plan, people could move anywhere they want in the building. If you visited other campuses, which I imagine you have, a lot of them are on, like, you go in, they swipe your card, it's all you can eat for as long as you want to eat, but you can't take it out. Here, because you do it on an a la carte, you have the flexibility of taking your food wherever you want, when you want. So the whole building technically becomes a big dining area at lunchtime, dinner time, and in breakfast. So that was one thing that we put in. We brought the bookstore back into the building. The bookstore used to be down where the fitness center is now. I don't know if anybody remembers that either. The other thing we did is which met with some resistance in the beginning, but I haven't heard anything since we moved. We moved all of the campus mailboxes out of the residence halls and moved them into the Union. You used to go downstairs to get your mail. Big complaint was when we first said we were going to do that, and then we did it. Everybody said, well, I can't go downstairs in my pajamas and get my mail. And I said, what's the difference? You come in your pajamas to the Union anyway, so you might as well be dressed that way to get your mail. It doesn't matter to us. So there were a couple things there. One was you kept the same mailbox all 4 years you were here, which was a major pain in the past because every time you moved, you had to get a new mailbox. And we heard from parents, and especially like aunts, uncles, grandparents who used to send the students checks. And if they sent it to them in the freshman year, and in the second year, they moved. Sometimes that didn't happen. They didn't give them their new address. So relatives really, really liked that. It also brought in the whole concept of all packages get delivered there, and you get a swipe, and it lets you know via email that you can come pick up your package. You can do UPS out of there. So those were things that we didn't have that were centralized. So again, it was things those were things that brought people in. We moved the Career Center there. The old Career Center, I used to joke and say you needed a GPS to find it because you didn't know where it was. It was on the back side of, I think it's Alumni, and it was out facing LaPorte.
Sure.
Where the counseling center is now. That used to be the Career Center. Not a great space if you're bringing recruiters in to do recruiting jobs, and plus students didn't know where it was. And since vocation is a very big part of our mission, we made sure that we answered the needs of vocation. So the Career Centers, I think it's been very advantageous to them. We gave them some of the best upfront real estate you could ask for because they're right in front of the building. You got to pass them if you come in the south entrance. So students know where it's at. When recruiters come, they know where it's at. Plus, the Career Centers use it a lot. They do the job fair now is in there every year instead of having to do it partially inside, partially outside, 2 different buildings and things like that. So those were some of the big reasons that, things that we did. Plus, then we opened up the Student Org Suite, SOS, which gave us much more space for student organizations. With the opportunity, we thought hopefully that they would collaborate more because they were closer together. I think it's starting to happen more than it did. We're finding organizations that are in there now that have offices. They are working together. Another move that I feel really good about, and we made that was intentional, and we did it early on, was moving OMP and OIB into that office. It increased the diversity in the building. It also brought in a group of students who might, in the past, never have come to the union except maybe to pick up something to eat and leave. Now they have a home with the multi-purpose space up there. Both the offices are there. There's a great greeting space in the middle. There's a kitchen that they can cook and make meals. And we find that they're in the building more. Actually, they are probably our students of color and our international students are probably our biggest customers in the game room. They're constantly hang out in there. They eat there. They play billiards. They play table tennis and so on. So it's been great to see the diversity and also groups getting together. Just this past weekend, Live in UPC did their final After Dark as a Cinco de Mayo theme, which I think you said you were there. So, and one of the students' parents came in and cooked all the food, so it was real, and they're telling us to move along.
Well, before we do wrap up, I know we had the architect or the designers, I don't know the correct term, but they came in and chose the Sahara Union as something that they'd like to showcase.
Right, they were on last Thursday or Friday and Saturday. I'm sorry, they were in. They were doing a promo film that they now will show to prospective customers who want to build a union. They've always said from the beginning and even when they finished that this is one of their bigger and better projects that they did. We had a great relationship with them, and that's what this is all about. Is a customer, prospective customer, say it was you, that wants to build one and wants to look at Sasaki, who is the head design firm. To want to use, this is a way for them to sell how well they work together with people when they want to build a new student or center or a campus center or a union in our case. So yeah, that was exciting. We feel privileged, we feel honored that they're going to do it. So I'm waiting to see what the final product will look like, and then eventually they'll start using it when they go out and meet with clients.
Sure. Well, I'm so glad that you're able to come on the show, Larry, and really just to honor you and your service to the university. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you around.
I'll be around.
Because
probably when you don't want me around. No, I'll be around.
Even though this is your official retirement, I know that
I'll be here.
You'll still be around. But anyway, thank you for
your
time, Larry.
It was a great day.
Yeah,
and I appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Larry. And thank you for joining us here on the Crusader Conversation. For on-demand VUTV programming, you can go to youtube.com/ValpoVUTV. For all of us here at VUTV, I'm Brendan Kinney. Thanks for watching.